All right. Okay. So that's how your name, Aldo, and that's how you got your
Yeah,
name.
so I can have some type of recollection
All
of
right,
my
cool.
my destiny.
All right. Well, like I said, thanks for doing this interview, Aldo. I appreciate it, man. And like I said, it's basically about science, reality, what you believe reality, what you believe from the mainstream or whatever, and just on your beliefs on it, man. No
And
right
if I
or
get
wrong.
off track, just guide me back on. I like
that's
the
cool.
volley.
All right, fair enough. Like I said, I'll give you $10 for the interview. I appreciate it. And then if you can disprove the stuff I'm saying, unless we're in agreement, then is what it is. But I'll give you $100 if you can disprove the stuff I'm saying, because most likely I'm going to think that you're not going to agree with me, man. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how open-minded would you say you are?
So what?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how open-minded would you say you are?
Oh shit, too open-minded. That's how I got to Michigan. You know, I did a research on like sanctuary cities, and Michigan was one of the states that came up, and I had kept it in the back of my mind. I actually was planning on going to Miami or LA, because I've been in LA.
So you're like a 10 then, you'd say,
briefly.
Bray? You're like a 10 probably?
Yeah, oh yeah, my bad, 10, man.
Oh, you're fine, man.
Yeah.
Do you think you should look at both sides of an argument before you make a decision on something?
Hell yeah.
All right, fair.
You know, I'm dealing with stuff like that now. You know, they said I'm not even a gay basher, but they said I was a homophobic, a homosexual, homophobic, crackhead, pillhead, woman beater. How could you not examine all of that? That don't even match up.
Man, I don't even know, man.
No, I'm just saying, it don't match. You can't be all those things and still to be open-minded.
I get you. All right, do you trust your senses?
Too much. My gut, you know, I learned that the gut.
I'm just
got
saying,
the
even
heart,
just
the mind,
walking.
and the gut.
Yeah.
So your
I'm
gut
talking about your senses, just walking across the street, like putting on your clothes every day. Not in your gut,
Yeah.
just your senses. Everyday comments, like not comments, but just like your senses, your
teeth,
general
wash
senses.
Your ass.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. Do you think the majority is always right?
Heck no. That's how I was buried alive.
All right. Fair enough. How do you think everything came?
They call it blackball.
Buried alive?
For me, it's buried alive. Like I don't exist, even though I'm thriving. How do I not still get a chance to access some type of finances that was left for me, and you gotta lie about it? Like if it's just sitting there, you shouldn't have to lie to keep me from accessing it.
No, I get you, man. How do you think everything came to be? Do you believe in like the Big Bang, creationism, or you don't have a belief on it?
Science is the description. Science is the breakdown. Because they call me Little Caesar. You know, that's why they brought Little Caesars back downtown from Pontiac or wherever. Because when my pops took ownership of it, he never let it be in Detroit action. Him and his team. I ain't gonna say just him, you know.
All right. So would you say? So then you kind of believe in like the Big Bang then with science?
Oh no. That's
creationism
science we study, like Scientology. You know, for example, is the study of.
Are you a Scientologist or?
No. I am I call myself not too churchy, but I call myself an evangelist. I'm just into holiness.
So you believe more in creationism more? Would you believe in a higher power then, hypothetically?
Yeah, it's a supreme being because we mimic that.
All right.
But I'm saying science is the breakdown of what the Bible is trying to say in layman's terms. And I ain't even say layman's term, but it's for the intellectual and it's for the unintellectual. When you look at science, you can take that to the element charts.
Well, here's my next question that kind of falls in with that. What would be your definition of science?
My definition of science, the study of the physical,
all right.
The study of the spiritual. You know, that's where the Quran comes in at, where the Muslims feel like so strong in there because they're scientists. They have the breakdown of the distance from the moon to the earth. They got a lot of science in the Quran. The Christians, we got a lot of physical. You know, we got a lot of the shouting, and then you got the Hindu, they meditate. And the Muslims do it 7 times a day. So if we combine everything, so yeah, science is just the study of the other elements.
Would you agree science should be observable, measurable, testable, and repeatable?
I agree it should be what?
Observable, measurable, testable, and repeatable.
Yes, because like I said, I had to go to science to defend my belief in God because guess what? He said, all things matter. Come to him. He said, how does he say? I'm not good with the spitting the scriptures. But all things matter when you come to God. He will add all things that matter. Long story short, matter.
All right, matter.
It's on the element chart.
Yeah,
so if God is matter and matter is on the element chart, you got to be able to break down to the person God's language on the science, on the
All
element
right.
chart.
Do you think science should ever be a closed book? Meaning you shouldn't be able to question anything.
Nah, because what blew my mind about 10 years ago, I used to like to read Popular Mechanics, I think, or it's a science book that's similar to Popular Mechanics. What's the other book? Not National Geographic. All of those type books. They were saying how one time, was one time. It came upon a time, the last 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago, even more than that. Because, if you break down Detroit is so techy. Even the DeLorean made by General Motors that went back in time. And then Donald Trump's favorite uncle was friend of Nikola Tesla. Like, I can go crazily deep with how science matters
like
to
Tesla,
what matters. It's not
Tesla's
far from the reality, the truth. It's just that people don't believe in the other dimensions, and the Bible speaks of other dimensions.
Well, we
Science
might get into
speaks
that.
of other dimensions. But go ahead, what your question is again?
All right. No, just you answer what you think on science. Can you tell me what's the difference to you between a belief and a knowing?
Dang, I missed the point though. What was the last question? I'm sorry.
About science, just about science. Or do you think science should ever be a closed book? And you said no. You said no, it shouldn't.
It's the study of. That's like biology. A lot of things cannot, even when we study how each other's praise. But what I was trying to get to, scientists found a spot light years away, and nothing goes through it. Nothing comes from it.
We're gonna touch on this type.
No, I'm just picking. They said it's probably the dimension where the Most High Jehovah Jireh is.
All right. Well, could you tell me what you think? What's your difference between a belief and a knowing?
Well, This is a funny topic. That this is a Kanye.
I would agree with that.
Kanye West soul, but this made by Adidas. The guy on the Michael Jordan movie era was picking that Adidas was made by one of Hitler's guys. What you call him?
Nazi?
Yeah.
All right.
So, we know that the Nazis persecuted the Jews, and rest in peace to all that lost their lives. But what we don't comprehend about that is they knowing was actually fighting against a belief. They went by what they knew instead of going by what they didn't learn, so it could be a belief that the Jews weren't wrong, but whoever the energy was supposed to properly go to, they were only harboring it for a season. So he came with his knowing instead of understanding their beliefs. So a belief is detrimental. Like I say, this is a Kanye soul, and but you don't believe that Adidas had the ability to take it all away.
Yeah.
So knowing, you can
knowing
know something.
could say me. There's two people who are talking right now. That's a knowing. That's 100% fact.
Yeah.
And then you could say, hypothetically, some people don't believe in a higher power. They may have a strong belief in it or whatever. But that could be a.
How
belief.
does I know it's a God? Like I say, the fact that I was buried alive. I came to Michigan on a humbug. I moved up here not knowing my dad and grandfather did nothing worth inheriting, right? Mm-hmm. So I knew I needed a better life, but I believed that God was going to make one. So I was willing to go to Cali. Beyonce built a $7 million shelter in Houston. I've been hearing about Seattle, Minnesota. And my grandfather actually passed away in 2001 over there in Highland Park. So I know I had some ties to Chicago, but one Memorial year, I met a girl that was from E-Course living in Oak Park, and I want an older woman. Older women know how to get the job done. And that was back in 2016. So my belief, my faith, because faith is a part of belief, I was just wanting a better life. But knowing which way to go, it's like a compass. Sometimes you can get to a belief by knowing. That's what I'm saying.
Agree.
So it's like they're separate, but they're two in the same.
All right, and this is where we go on.
One in the same.
All right, here's the subject where it comes, and I'd be shocked we agree on the same thing. So it's a big topic. I think media pushed it down. What do you believe? What shape do you think the Earth is, man? Do you believe it's flat? Do you believe it's an oblate spheroid? Do you believe it's without form?
Turn and let them get the Chevrolet stuff right quick, the racetrack. This is the Grand Prix. This stuff ain't been over here since the late 80s, early 90s, or whatever. I just want y'all to see a glimpse of what they broke down. But what was your question again?
What's your opinion on the shape of the Earth? Do you think it's flat?
That's why I went that way. It's an atlas actually flat over there. I wish they didn't have the stage in the way.
So you believe it's flat?
Off of knowing. Okay. My belief is, would I know that it's round, or do I believe that it's round? I would know that it was round by what I was taught. But my belief says it's flat because of, if you check airplane patterns, certain, like, okay, you got Australia way over here, New Zealand, then you got Hawaii. Most people would think you should be able to fly right there to Australia from Hawaii.
So you've looked into the subject before.
I mean, it's common sense. Why you gotta leave Hawaii? Ain't that much ocean in the world, bro. We got reserve gas tanks. You shouldn't have to fly back east to go west if east wasn't west and west wasn't east. Even Asians call Asia what? The deep east.
Right,
you know, we call everything in the Atlantic coast the east, but they call that the east, period. You would never hear people from the the eastern hemisphere say that they're west in any way. So that's common sense. It's
so you
flat.
think it's flat with stationary?
From my belief.
From your belief. I didn't say it's a belief, but I'm with you. I kind of say, have you ever seen the movie The Matrix? Yeah, plane routes. And you know, you want to get this water. Water tells it, wouldn't you say? It's a self-evident fact 100% of the time. Water takes the shape of its container 1,000,000% of your time in reality.
Oh
right?
my God! So is water in balls like we're in Saturn?
No.
We gonna leave that alone before they get rid of us, but they not. They ain't ready.
Yeah, they ain't
used
ready.
To be.
Fair enough.
I just pick it. But I'm saying, so you know, it takes the form of its.
So how could
dimensions.
it be a ball? How could it be?
And we can go to Admiral Byrd in the treaty, the South Pole Treaty, bro.
You've looked into this, man. You've looked into it.
Yeah, come
All right,
on,
cool, man. All right, cool.
I ain't looked into it.
Well, if you know
if
Admiral
it come
Byrd,
across my desk, I gotta look into it. It didn't make sense why somebody trying to fly across an ice wall. Like, you know, he had a couple of people ran into it. You know what I'm saying? But when he finally got across and found lush green territories,
so you think there's more?
They lock him up and threw away the key.
So you think there's more ponds like ours or whatever? Like, you think it's more like there's just more land and stuff? That's why they got that treaty going?
I think if your money and your mind and your heart match, you get to see more.
I'm with you on it.
You know, but your mind and your money and your heart gotta match. Those beings, they like to call them, in those dimensions, whether they operate off of good or evil, they operate off of pure in heart.
All right, so you're on the opinion they faked the moon missions to fake our reality, basically.
No, I believe they went to the moon and them boys wasn't playing when they got up there. It's a little tricky video they got that something came out and ate a couple of people.
So you think they're telling us what's real about space then and stuff?
They telling us everything.
They're telling us everything?
You gotta know what's real and what's fake. Like my life, I was raised by the wolves. But if you know the people that raised me, you wouldn't call them wolves.
All right.
But I call them wolves because y'all basically did like the hyenas did. Took over everything my dad and grandfather worked for and just shitted on it. Like I used to be like, why is it miles and miles of bandos? You know? But evidently one entity controlled that. And when you just blow up stuff and nobody can grasp, that's what happens. Stuff just left desolate.
So anyway, so if you think they did land on it, like they say the moon's in a different atmosphere, you know, like it's out of our atmosphere. Mm-hmm. We live in a positive pressurized environment. They say space is like a vacuum, almost a negative pressure system. And like we said, water always takes shape of its container. How can our atmosphere stay adjacent to the vacuum of space? You talk about, you know, the Quran, religion and stuff in the firmament. How could
they spoke of the firmament.
How could two opposing pressure systems exist side by side without a solid barrier? How could they get through and get to the moon then?
I can't give you the logistics, the science, because I ain't jumped into it because I was being groomed to be a youth pastor, so I was more so on David and Goliath stories. Right. But I was in a Detroit barbershop, Michigan. I was in Detroit for 6 years plus, working in a barbershop. You guys are so intellectual. Even the scammers are smarter than the average criminals. I was able to take the things that other people have been studying, good and bad, about the world, and I came up with this. The same way how they got those water, I don't know which river it is, I think it is in Argentina, and one is muddy and one is clear, and they run right beside each other. It's something in the longitudes and latitudes and the chemical combustion that blocks it. It's the same way in the Bible when they talk about purgatory, and Abraham was able to see the rich man in hell, but it was a barrier. I don't know what you call that, but it exists. It's just like the force fields they use in the movies and stuff. Whatever that technology is, I don't know the name for it, but it's something like that.
So do you think they're actually landing?
Like
so do you think they're actually landing stuff on like Mars probes and stuff like that? Do you think they're actually flying stuff up there?
The thing about it is, it's out. It's out and not up. That's why they call it.
One of the questions I forgot to ask you is, do you trust the government?
I'm gonna just drop this on it because a lot of people think I'm crazy, and I'm pretty sure you reached the right people. We are the government. Enough of us it's enough of people that's low key, out the way, undercover boss that is the government. So yeah, we gotta trust ourselves.
But you think there's a higher power? You think there's a higher power elite that try to control?
It is, but it's so many people.
We outnumber the small minute, but do you think there's a higher power up? Like, not a higher power.
There is a small elite group.
Do you trust them?
I trust them only because I trust the most high energy. See, remember, it's not upper space, it's outer space. And what Admiral Byrd studied was where? Outer. So a lot of the things are they're not even unearthly, they're not even unearthly attributes. It's just that we haven't been studying them. Like all of the extra stuff that the Nazis found in the pyramids before the other countries got there. They found. Did you see some of the new photos they found?
I've seen
high-tech stuff in those pyramids. They didn't go. Everybody don't go deep enough. So to answer your question, yeah, because we are one. It's the unity. It's the you and I verse. The only way we can avoid destruction, Armageddon, is to keep unifying and change hearts.
But you do believe the sun and moon go around us then, or do you believe?
Yeah, it's it's the point. Oh, if you go to the North Pole, somebody left a camera up there. I mean, some of these ventures I got to do myself so people can be like, you don't got no real evidence. But there's somebody that went up there with a camera that recorded it, and they sat there, and the camera is motion, and it followed the sun, or they watched how the sun went around the same spot. The camera didn't move, but the sun was going around. Damn, it's another way to check this out. The sun only rises. I'm from Myrtle Beach area.
It rises from the east and sets in the west always.
So that's not even
That's a fact.
It's going around it. It's going around it.
Well, some people say we're spinning around it.
No. It's impossible. Why? I excuse my ignorance. Like I said, I'm from Myrtle Beach area, and I always would go to the water to watch the sunrise, especially when I was cutting school. And one time I was in Cali briefly, so I caught my little ignorant self going to Roy Rogers Park. If you're familiar with that, that's like Pacific Coast Highway where Bel Air ends. Roy Rogers Park. I'm there early in the morning, so I'm waiting on the sun to rise. I told some sexy, older Caucasian lady, I'm trying to get to holler, and she said, "What, young man?" I'm hollering like, "Ooh, girl, you got a nice shape, blah blah blah." And she was like, "What you out here for? Where your family?" Young man, it's like I'm out of place. I'm in a Bel Air. It's basically Bel Air Beach.
Gotcha.
And there ain't a lot of blacks over, unless I'm on break. Anyway, I was telling her about I love to watch the sunrise. She said, "Well, you're not gonna catch this unless you go back to South Carolina." She said, "Yeah, it only sets over here." So I was just like, wow,
Right.
So to come into some more scientific knowledge just years later, that's something I caught when I was kind of asleep. I wasn't woke at all. But that's weird that it seemed like it would be just going around and not setting and rising.
Our senses do tell us that's the way it works.
Like you said, knowing and believing is two different things. Now you know what they tell you, but you gotta believe what you see.
All right. Well, yeah. You know what the North Star is? Polaris.
Yeah. They call it the Jesus Star.
It's like above the North Pole, and this how I tell people, because people will try to give you excuses on reasons why it's a ball. And here, I mean, we're kind of on the same page. I'll go over it with you real quick. The North Star, it's the only stationary star right above. I think it's like the Matrix, man. We're living.
Man, I love you, man.
I think it's without form, whatever. But I mean, I think it's some type of level plane.
It's almost like a chandelier in a mansion.
Yeah.
It's the
so basically, the North Star vibrates, and everything does perfect geocentric circles around it. So
I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, but so how would, I mean, you already with me. So my argument is everything's spinning around us, and it causes the Coriolis effect in each hemisphere. The moon pushes the tides, the sun contracts the tides.
Right.
They say if you shoot a bullet west when the sun's there, it's going to dip down. I say that's based off a false axiom. And if you shoot a bullet west at night when the moon's there, it's going to bounce up. And they say the lunar eclipse, everyone's always like, oh, if the Earth wasn't a ball, you'd see a line across it. The sun's right across it. Can you hold both your hands out? Can you hold both your hands out like in front of me? Say the Earth's in between both your hands right there. And I say it's the sun blocking out the moon. It ain't the Earth's shadow blocking out the moon.
Right, and that's what an eclipse is.
Yeah, they try to say it's the sun shining on the Earth, and it's the Earth's shadow casting on the moon.
The eclipse is evident of that.
Yeah.
Man, you got a science show because I heard Bill Nye passed away.
Nah,
Bill Nye's still here. Bill Nye, he was coming with the flat Earth stuff. It was something Bill Nye came with. I was like, awesome. About time, Bill Nye.
But he gets debunked on it. He says
he's under contract. We can't get the under contract guys mixed up with the guys who feel like life is a contract.
Nah, I'm with you. All right, man. Well, dude, that's the interview. I'll hook you up with the $10, man. I appreciate the interview, dude.
Awesome.